have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, so glad you did. You have found me, Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis frequency. Welcome in. I so appreciate every single listener every time anyone hits that play button. You know, I love doing this work of personal, professional, and leadership development. Been doing it for a long, long time, been studying it for a long, long time, been presenting it for a long time, been speaking about it for a long time, been training around it for a long, long time. Because, I'm really passionate about sharing that transformation is possible for everyone. Why is that? Why, I'm thinking about what am I going to talk about today? I think I do that a couple days before I get ready to record, and I don't do a lot of prep work. It just flows. I just flows. I go into my preparation time really by entering into the silence. Something I talk about a lot on the show. I just enter into the silence and I just go to that place and I said, "Hey, I want to be open to wisdom, inspiration, and guidance that I know is already in there. I want to be in that place where it flows to and through me, and in the words I speak, and in the words I share, and the thoughts and the ideas and the concepts and the techniques and the exercises that I've put out there that I have learned and applied in my life. I just like to be open to that and communicate that perhaps in a way that maybe you haven't heard before, or in a way that now you're hearing again for the first time, so to speak. Get that again for the first time. So many things are like that, aren't they? We hear it again, but for the first time. Why is that? Because we're all in a different place in consciousness. So we hear so many things again, but yet for the first time, because then the light bulb goes off. We move into that aha moment. That happens to me almost daily. And I hope it does to you as well. So that's why I do this. That's why I'm passionate about it. And let's get right into it because I want to talk a little bit about installing your success program. Yes, you can all actually install a program for your own success. Install a success program. And this is so important for all of us, whether we're working on some personal goals, whether we're working on our professional goals, whether we're working on our leadership development. Remember, you got to be a personal leader. You got to be a leader of your own life before you can move into motivational and strategic leadership of others in your organization. So you want to apply these. I'm always talking about how they're all intertwined. If you're in the workforce, you're in a corporate environment, you're contributing as an element to culture and corporate goals. You have to work on intertwining all the goals of your life in every area of your life. Very important work that we do when it comes to self-improvement, personal improvement, professional improvement, and leadership development. So let's talk about installing this program. We all have programming, and you hear me talk about it a lot. And maybe this is another way to talk about some of the things I've talked about before, because it is. It is. What is this programming? Well, we all have the programming, and we can refer to it as our psycho-cybernetic mechanism. The mechanism that's familiar to so many of us would be the thermostat on our walls, right? In our homes, in our offices. It's set to a certain number. It's programmed. It's set to send a message to our heating unit or our air conditioning unit to perform a task when the set point is either gone below or it's gone above. It's calling for heat, it's calling for cooling, it's calling for the fan to come on, that kind of thing. It's a cybernetic mechanism. What is it doing? It's constantly making adjustments. It's constantly monitoring what's going on in the environment, in the room around it, and in the ambient area that is contributing to what the cybernetic mechanism, the thermostat, is taking in. It's taking in the temperature of the environment. In some cases, the smarter thermostats are measuring the humidity, the dryness of the air, and the condition of the filter and all that kind of thing. It's programmed to take in this stuff from its world around it and then respond accordingly. Turn the heat on, turn the heat off, turn the air conditioning on, turn the heat off, notify you it's time to change the filter, or tell you that there is not enough moisture in the air, it's too dry, that kind of thing. You can do all kind of things, right? Do they have one that makes coffee? I don't know. Probably. I think, in this day and age, you can just program your whole house to do everything. That's another show, but we are talking about programming. So can you actually install a success program? Yes, you can, because we are a very, very, very technologically advanced, mentally advanced psycho-cybernetic mechanism. We're constantly course correcting, right? We we do all this work that I talk about, that I have talked about in the preceding episodes for the last, let's just say, 4 or 5 episodes, but really the last 4 or 5, 6 years, been talking about how you prepare yourself. I always go back to the beginning after I feel that I've exhausted in my most recent episodes the techniques to help you make quantum leaps in your life. Quantum leaps when it comes to goal achievement, to making manifest what you want to achieve and experience in your personal and your professional life. So, how do we install this programming? You have to first realize that programming has already been installed. That programming, first of all, it starts. We come with some basic programming when we're brought into this world. Some of it comes through our genetics, through our DNA. We have some of it pre-programmed. That's the reason we look like Uncle Harry and Aunt Sue. That's the reason why we have some of the same, oh, just some of the same things that we do, some of the same habitual behaviors. We start at that very early age. First of all, we're pre-programmed with some stuff because of hereditary and genetics. And then as we move into this world as infants, we're taking it all in, just like the thermostat. We're taking it all in. We're taking everything in. We're soaking it in. And before we even develop our faculties, our mental faculties of reason and memory and intuition and imagination and all of that, before that, we're just this sponge. We're just this sponge. That's why we develop, different accents from, depending on what part of the world we were born in. We take it in. We take in the mannerisms of whoever's raising us, of mom or dad, the way they talk, the way they look, their gait when they walk. We're even taking that in. We're copying. You can look at some of these funny videos out there of a baby just trying to imitate mom or dad or grandma walking around the house, right? And on it goes. We're just taking all this in, and that forms our programming. We have some basic programming. And then as we begin to sort through it, because we're developing our mental faculties, we're using our faculty of reason. We're filtering through our memories. Hey, that didn't work when I touched that hot stove, right? We're starting to learn things and adjust that programming, zigging and zagging and adjusting our flow through life by accessing the program through our mental faculties and considering what worked and what didn't work. All that input and all that input that continues throughout our life forms our patterns, forms the basis of our programming, contributes to our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. So what is programmed in, what is showing up as our results comes from the programming, comes from our behavior. And we have those habitual behaviors, we have them occurring in our thoughts, in the words we speak, in the actions that we take. And we do this personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally. It's all taking place at one time. Even our physical health, our, our spiritual and ethical side, everything that we're doing, we have programming within us that is contributing to what's showing up in our world. So we want to install some success programming, right? And that's going to come from a number of places. And we talk about this when we talk about the self-image, when we talk about self-esteem. But let's just stay in the context of what we've been talking about, from the last 4 or 5 episodes. I talked about that fresh start, that new beginning, and then I talked about going into the vault and accessing infinite wisdom and guidance and infinite intelligence. And I talked about being in that state of positive expectancy. And so now we're looking at, how do I defined what I wanted. I'm making this new fresh start, this new beginning. I've clearly defined the goals that I want to achieve for myself and my personal life. In fact, in every area of my life. And I want to move into them. I want to move into them quickly. What do I do? And again, those 6 areas, just really quick, are your family and home life, 6 or 7 really. Your family and home, your finance and career, time and money freedom, that kind of thing. Your mental and educational, your physical fitness, your physical health, your social and cultural goals, your spiritual and ethical goals, and of course, your professional and vocational goals, that kind of thing. And your legacy, what do you want to leave behind? No, those are all areas to consider, because I approach everything holistically, like whole life prosperity and success. So it's inclusive of all these things that I invite you to consider. So hopefully you did that work. If you're just here listening to this for the first time, I encourage you to go back and give it a listen. Go back and listen to all these things. We're in the sixth year, and there's hundreds of episodes, thousands and thousands of downloads. Thank you. But there's so much value in here, and I'm just putting this stuff out there. Yeah, we can go deeper. You can reach out to me at successappointment.com, and we can talk about, hey, where you might be getting stuck. We can talk about getting you on a plan, getting you into a program of achievement, and again, for you as an individual or in your corporate environment. But right here, right now, there's a tremendous amount of value that you can apply to your life right away. There's no catch to this. So take this. Don't, just because this is a podcast and you're receiving this information at no cost to you, well, you're investing your time, right? And you can get a return on that investment when you apply it to your life, when you embody these principles, because this is all based on law. It's based on universal law, and it works for one and for all. Formula is always the same. Thoughts plus feelings plus actions equals results. So back to your programming. You've identified what you want to experience in your life in all these areas, personally and professionally. You've identified it. You've written down your goals. You've crystallized your thinking. You made them specific. You have an ability to measure them. You are willing and able to do what it takes to attain these goals. They're very real for you. They're made real because you're visualizing them. You're seeing them on the canvas, the screen of your mind, right? And there's something that when they move into your experience, your physical experience, the visible world of form, moving from the world of non-form where you've created them, there's something they're tangible, that you can touch, you can taste, you can feel, you can experience, you can really experience it. Because that's what this is all about, moving our ideals, a progressive realization of our ideals, right? Moving it from the invisible world of non-form to the visible world of form. So we're installing this programming, right? It's not enough. Here's how we do this. It's not enough just to have done that, written out our goals, defined what they are, examined what we're passionate about, pen to page, and wrote them all out. being very specific, crystallizing all the details, writing them down. How are you writing them down? This is where it begins, how we install the programming. Are they all written down now? Let's go back and take a look at them. Are they all written down in the present tense? Right? Go back through your goals list in these areas. I am so happy and grateful now that I am. Our subconscious mind only works in the present tense. That's where we're installing the success program. We're installing the success program in our subconscious mind. And God knows there's enough programming in there that has to be removed. And we're going to talk more about removing those old programs, but because we have to make room for the new one, right? So that's why our focus on our passion and what we want is so important, because we begin to deny any power to the old ways, to what we don't want, to the old habits, to those old programs that are in there that want to pull you in a different direction. They usually want to pull you back into your comfort zone. They see anything as new as a threat to its existence, to the ego's existence, and it's pulling you, wants to pull you away from that. So you have to deny any power to those old thoughts, to those old habits, and we'll get into that more in the next episode. So we're installing this program by writing this out, number one, in the present tense, each and every goal that you have. Not someday. We're not using words like someday, I'm going to try, one day it will come, I am going to. We're not using any of those words. Those words put your dreams and your goals, your desires, your aspirations, even your corporate goals and your vision in a future place that doesn't exist. So we want to speak to the subconscious mind where we install the programming in in present tense form. I am grateful now that, and gratitude in advance is the most powerful thing you can do to move your dreams into your experience. So make sure that it includes, every single one of them includes an element of thanksgiving, appreciation, and thanksgiving. So you want to do that. I am so happy and grateful because we're putting the emotion and the feeling and the joy into the achievement of this dream or goal. You have to have that feeling or emotion because the subconscious mind's going to say, hey, I got to move this to the top of the list. My human, this programming that's coming in is attaching feeling and emotion to this. So it must be very, very, very important. So all of your dreams and your goals and what you want to achieve in your life, written out, spoken in the present tense, and then repeated over and over and over again. The key here is the spaced repetition. So many people get this wrong. I'll enroll them in a program of an achievement program, or even in the corporate world, personal leadership development, personal development, personal productivity and performance. And they'll approach this and they'll hurry up and do their work. They'll get a notebook and they're going to put it all in there. I'll give them a fillable field PDF and they'll fill it all in and then they close it. Oh, I'm done with that task. And they scratch it off their list. I'm done with that for the day. That's not the way to approach this. Constant, spaced repetition of the desired state is the key to installing this success programming. What is success? Success is the progressive realization of your goal, of your dream, of your desire, your aspiration, what you want to experience in your life. You've written it out. You know what it is. You've crystallized your thinking. You made it clear and specific. And so now you've written it out. You've gone back and checked. Yes, I have this in the present tense. Now put it on an index card or put it in your phone or somewhere where you can grab it and reach for it every day, especially when you feel some of the old ways, the old habits, the negative thoughts creep back in, especially when you start to hear some of that inner monkey chatter, that inner criticism that says, "Who are you to do this? You were programmed. You weren't programmed good enough to do that. You weren't program's smart enough to do that because that chatter's going to come up. Pull out your list of your affirmative statements. You're going to participate in the spaced repetition and start with your affirmations of your goals. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am financially free because I now have, and put the number of dollars in because you're specific, right? You have clarity around that. You crystallized your thinking, and do this for every area of your life over and over and over and over again every day. Because it's all about be, do, and have. We all get that order wrong at some point in our lives. We want to have, we want to have, we want to have, we want to have. But we're not being the person that can have that. We want to be that person that is capable of experiencing all that. How do we do that? Well, it's aligning our thoughts, our words, and our actions, because our thoughts, our words, and our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, our thoughts, words, and actions equals our results. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions equals our results. So that's why we're wrapping these affirmations with feeling and emotion. We're repeating them. We're spacing that repetition, and we're seeing the results show up. What happens when we do this? Well, we're constantly participating in a series of course corrections. Our subconscious mind is doing this for us. Just like the thermostat, right? A little too warm, got to cool it off. A little too cold, got to warm it up. Our psychocybernetic mechanism, the success program we're installing, will do the same thing the thermostat does along our path throughout our day. We're going in the wrong direction. Guess what? Before we hear that negative, before long, and when we usually hear that negative monkey chatter, we're going to hear that little voice that says, this isn't in alignment with the goals that you set in this area. Move away from that. Let's course correct. Let's get you back on track. You pull out, you look at your goals. I affirm, I am so happy and grateful now that I am. And you get back on track. You get back on course. And you're doing this over and over and over and over again. Just like all the the rockets that have been launched and the spaceships and the trip to the moon and all that. It's just a series of course corrections. You're zigging a little to the left. You're zigging a little to the right. It's constantly moving everything back on track so that it hits the target. Same thing we're doing here. If you don't do this, well, you still got that programming. That programming will take over. That's why we see so many people in the world moving about as unconscious, either automatons, robots, whatever you want to call it, even competent with what they're doing. I call them unconscious competence. They're going about their day with no focused awareness on what they want, just going through the routine. How do they do that? It's programmed in there. It's programmed in there as habit. We want to program success habits. I'm out of time already. I can't believe it. I'm just looking up at the number and just say, hey, you got to wrap this thing up. And I'm passionate about this. We're going to talk more about programming. We're going to talk more about installing your success programming. We're going to talk more about removing the old programming, the habitual behaviors as we move forward. This is all part of your path to making a quantum leap to everything you want to achieve in your life. And I'm passionate about this. I know I'm running everything together because I get excited about it. You can tell I get enthused about it. And I don't think I came right out and said why I have that passion. I started to, right? But I started tripping over my own words. But it's because I have done this in my own life. I was in a real, real dark place many, 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 many times. I mean, really dark. More about that as we move forward, or you can go back and listen to some of my first episodes for my story. And I'm telling you, I've learned and applied these laws, failed a lot of times, made mistakes a lot of times, but kept coming back to them, kept course correcting because it felt good. It felt better to be on track. It felt better to be moving in the direction of what I want to achieve and experience in my life than just mucking around in the same old stuff that wasn't bringing me what I wanted, the same old results. We don't change anything at the level of results and staying in that same energy. We change everything at the level of our thought through constant spaced repetition. And this is where we begin to install our success program. So get to work on yours. You got enough here for today to get started. We'll talk more about it next episode. Hey, reach out to me. You need help with this, successappointment.com. Let's get you moving from where you are to where you want to be. Let's talk about it. Successappointment.com will open up as a calendar in your time zone. Select a time. Let's talk. Let's get you moving. A variety of ways we can do that. Would love to have a conversation with you as a listener. There's no charge for this. Outside of this podcast, yeah, there is. There's a big charge for this. So don't not put any value on that. You want to do this. You want to take advantage of this. And people are reaching out all the time, and I appreciate you for doing that. We're way over for today. I apologize for that. Apologize, but sometimes it's hard to apologize for what you're passionate about. We shouldn't do that, should we? I don't think we should apologize what we're excited about. We do have to temper that zeal with a little bit of wisdom, and that wisdom is telling me right now, let's wrap it up. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and you've been listening to the Genesis Frequency. I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.